What happens when you walk into a high school thinking you're about to inspire the next generation, and instead you become the punchline? Because that's exactly what just happened to Erika Kirk in Illinois. She showed up expecting applause, respect, maybe even a few new recruits, but what she got was something completely different. Students weren't impressed. They weren't buying the act, and within minutes, the entire event started feeling less like a motivational speech and more like a public humiliation unfolding in real time. And trust me, it only got worse from there. But that wasn't even the strangest part. So first, let's talk about why Erika Kirk was inside a high school in the first place. This wasn't some random guest appearance. This was part of a larger conservative outreach tour meant to launch a new wave of student political clubs across America. The goal was simple: get teenagers involved, build influence early, and plant turning point-style groups directly into schools. On paper, it's framed as civic engagement, but to a lot of people watching, it felt like something else entirely. It felt like recruitment. And out of all places to kick off this new chapter, they chose one Illinois high school. Big stage, big moment. Erika clearly thought this would be a win, but the students had other plans, and the second she stepped up, the vibe was already off. The footage is almost hard to watch. Erika walks in, trying to look relatable, trying to dress like she belongs there, but instead it comes across awkward, like someone pretending. Her speech starts and immediately it feels stiff, scripted, detached, not natural, not inspiring, just uncomfortable. She keeps thanking the students, pausing strangely, stumbling over words, and you can tell the room isn't locked in. They're not leaning forward. They're not moved. They're waiting, watching, almost like they already know what this is. And Erika keeps pushing forward anyway. But then she starts leaning into something even stranger. At one point, Erika starts warning students about compromising their character. She tells them not to follow the crowd, not to make choices they wouldn't want on the front page of a newspaper. And honestly, that advice sounds fine if it came from a teacher or a mentor or someone the students actually trusted. But coming from Erika in this setting, it landed completely wrong. Because teenagers today aren't clueless. They live online. They know how to spot performative speeches. They know when someone is selling them something. And Erika wasn't just giving advice. She was pitching an identity, a movement, a club. And the room could feel it. But then she shifted directly toward the girls in the audience. And that's when things got even more uncomfortable. Erika turns and says something that instantly made people raise their eyebrows. Ladies, be modest, honor your parents, live in a way that's respectable. Again, on the surface, it's not some shocking sentence. Plenty of families teach values like that. But in this moment, it didn't feel like guidance. It felt like branding, like she was pushing a certain worldview onto teenagers who didn't ask for it. And you could tell. The students weren't inspired. They weren't nodding along. They looked uncomfortable, like they were thinking, why are we being lectured right now? And the awkwardness in the room kept building. But the real reaction wasn't just inside the auditorium, because outside, a completely different scene was unfolding. While Erika was speaking inside, a crowd was gathering outside the school. Protesters, students, community members, people holding signs, people angry that this event was happening at all. And when reporters spoke to students afterward, some of them didn't hold back. They said listening to Erika felt disgusting, not motivating, not empowering, just wrong. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a polished political rollout started looking like a PR disaster. Because instead of students lining up to join, the loudest response was backlash, and Erika couldn't control it. The optics were terrible. But what makes this moment even more shocking is how badly she miscalculated the audience. That's the part people can't stop talking about. Erika walked into that school like these teenagers were going to be easy, like they'd clap, smile, sign up. But these students weren't impressed by buzzwords. They weren't hypnotized by a microphone and a stage. They saw right through it. And the more she tried to sound inspirational, the more disconnected she seemed. It wasn't a conversation, it was a performance. And teenagers are brutal when they sense something fake. So instead of winning them over, she became a spectacle, and the internet noticed immediately. Clips spread fast. People were reposting it everywhere, not because it was inspiring, but because it was embarrassing. And that brings us to the biggest question. This is where the story gets bigger than just Erika, because this wasn't only about one awkward speech. It's about a growing trend. Political organizations pushing directly into schools, trying to reach students younger and younger, building loyalty before adulthood. And people are asking, is this education or indoctrination? Is this civic engagement or manipulation? Because when you walk into a high school with cameras rolling, trying to recruit teenagers into a national political brand, you're not just giving a speech, you're making a statement. And based on the reaction, a lot of people aren't comfortable with what that statement is. Erika Kirk thought this was going to be a triumphant moment, a fresh start, a new chapter. Instead, it became a humiliation. Students laughed. Protesters showed up. Clips went viral for all the wrong reasons. And what was supposed to be a recruitment win turned into a warning. Because if high schoolers can see through political theater this easily, then maybe the real story isn't about Erika at all. Maybe it's about the fact that this generation isn't buying what's being sold anymore. And the next time someone walks into a school expecting blind applause, they might want to think twice. Because these students, they're watching, and they're not naive.